fans are fired up. So are we. The sun is coming out. We're in good spirits here. First Take, day 3 of our training camp tour. Welcome into First Take. Thank you so much for hanging with us. On the road, we are enjoying it. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman.
What's up, Ross?
I'm Molly Karam. Ryan Clark will be with us later. How we doing? How we doing? Plus a lot of guests, right? Kirk Cousins, D'Angelo Hall, and Josh Norman. So a lot to discuss with them. Gentlemen, you want to get into it?
Let's go.
Because we got some news. We start in the NBA, though, with Russell Westbrook. OKC Thunder fans devastated earlier this NBA offseason when Kevin Durant chose not to re-sign with the team and go to the Warriors, but now they have something to smile about. League sources told ESPN Westbrook has agreed in principle to a deal with the Thunder for 3 years worth $85.7 million. Westbrook will make an extra $8.7 million this upcoming season. He has a player option for the 3rd season. Stephen A., how bad does this make KD look?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. If Kevin Durant had come out and said that, you know what, I just don't want to be in Oklahoma City anymore. I want to be in some place like my man Chris Rock says where you can order sushi at 4 in the morning as opposed to Oklahoma City, then he doesn't look bad. But if you're talking about being in a situation and not departing from a winning situation and not being perceived as jumping on the bandwagon, I think Kevin Durant looks very bad because by Russell Westbrook signing this deal, clearly it's not a long-term deal. He's only really committing for 1 additional year. He's getting himself about a $9 million raise. It was a good business decision on his part, no doubt, but it also showed a willingness to play and to stay in OKC, not escape to Los Angeles or anywhere else we were speculating that he might want to go. And in the end, what it comes down to is this: Kevin Durant didn't believe that winning with Russell Westbrook was a possibility. You can slice it any way you want to. In the end, if you're chasing a championship, Kevin Durant chose Steph Curry over Russell Westbrook. You can slice it any way you want. He can try to couch it. He can try to massage it. He can try to sit there and wiggle his way around it. Who gives a damn? That's what this comes down to. Because Russell Westbrook making the claim and the proclamation that indeed he's willing to stay in OKC with Steven Adams and Victor Oladipo there with him, carrying this team or whatever. You can sit there and speculate that he wants to be the man, and obviously there's some truth to that because he likes shooting the basketball. There's no doubt about that. He's a career 21 point per game scorer. We know how electrifyingly athletic he is, the most athletic point guard in the history of the NBA, if that's what you really want to call him, a point guard. But in the end, Kevin Durant can slice it any way he wants to. He preferred the thought of playing with Steph Curry more so than playing with Russell Westbrook. That's what this move comes down to, because Russell Westbrook saying that he's not willing to leave in all likelihood is something that he made clear to Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant chose to part ways anyway, Mike.
If your thesis is that this makes Durant look bad, then Stephen A., Mr. Basketball, I respectfully disagree. Look, in the moment, Westbrook wins the headline. Westbrook wins the hearts of the old school guys who consider it, you know, the tough guy, old school way to, damn it, you stay where you are and you try to make best, you know, with what you got. He'll win the headline today and he'll make Durant look bad today. But that's okay because there'll be more headlines tomorrow, and the headlines will read eventually. Kevin Durant made it to X finals, and that X going to be more than one on that squad. And one Y finals, and that Y is probably going to be more than one on that squad too. So history will record. And then years from now, there'll be documentaries about how, well, Westbrook never won a title, but you have to understand, he was the guy who stayed there. And what were Westbrook's options? And Westbrook is my favorite player in the NBA. That guy has rabies when he plays. That guy is unbridled aggression. There's no one I like to watch more than Russell Westbrook. But what were his options? He's not a free agent. So any team that traded for him would have to gut their team, and he wouldn't be going to a very talented team. And then even look at the teams who could really use him to put him over the top. A lot of them have point guards. What was he supposed to do? So what did he do? He optimized his money by getting paid now, by having opt-outs when he gets 10 years in the league, so he gets a new max deal at new max money. He did the smart thing. I don't think it it makes Durant look bad at all?
Well, he did the smart thing from a business perspective. And it's not a matter of Durant looking bad because he decided to leave OKC. I've been on the record saying I have no problem with Kevin Durant deciding to leave OKC. I had a problem with him picking to go to the team that actually knocked him off and that actually beat him. But you also have to remember that Kevin Durant is after championships. Kevin Durant wants a ring. Kevin Durant was on a championship contender and decided to go to the very team that beat him, who happens to have the reigning two-time league MVP, who plays the same position as Russell Westbrook. So essentially what you're saying, after coming to Russell Westbrook's defense in press conferences where Mark Cuban talked about him and other places where other media pundits and beyond have talked about Russell Westbrook, the number one protector, the number one defender of Russell Westbrook was Kevin Durant. Yet when it was time and you had an opportunity to make a decision, you chose somebody over Russell Westbrook in order to go and play with them. Now, I'm not saying that makes Kevin Durant look bad, but I'll tell you what, it does make him look a bit disingenuous considering how so quickly he was willing to come to the defense of Russell Westbrook only to jump and, just skip out of town the second he had an opportunity to. In the end, again, it doesn't make Kevin Durant look bad. I don't mean to imply that. What I'm trying to say is, let's be real. Let's be real. In the end, it comes down to one reality and one reality. You did not believe you could win a championship with Russell Westbrook.
Well,
that's what you're saying. Now, by the way, just to get to your point, because you're quick to sit up there and say, Stephen A., is the insider talking? Did you hear this from somebody? Or is this what you believe? Let me clarify. When it comes to this particular issue, yes, I have people close to Kevin Durant, regardless of what he thinks. I am telling you what they said. He cannot win. Their words were, he cannot win a championship with Russell Westbrook, Stephen A., and you damn well know it. And I said, did Kevin Durant say that? And they said, no comment. Now that's the insider. What I deduce from that is clearly that's what you believe. And clearly you were convinced to believe that, and you might not have needed to be convinced to believe that, but it's clear you don't feel that Russell Westbrook was going to facilitate you capturing a championship. So all of this bloviating in his defense all of these years seems a bit disingenuous at this point.
What do you want him to do when that's his teammate? That's his partner in crime. He's got to pump him up. Now, you don't want to turn Russell Westbrook. You don't want to turn Russell Westbrook into something that he's not. You can only tamper with his kind of aggression so much. But I can't hold it against Kevin Durant that he spoke out and spoke up for what Russell Westbrook while they were teammates, but that when it came down to him making a decision for his career, Stephen A., he's looking at 30 in the not-too-distant future, and he's looking at Westbrook, who's more talented than Steph Curry or anyone on the Warriors, more talented, but he's looking at the Warriors and saying, why does this have to be so hard in terms of the way we play? Why does it have to be a question, who gets the last shot? Why do we have to be playing in isolation so much? I want to play the right way with those guys. You know who gets the last shot? The open man. I don't want to have to worry with all those other kind of things.
You know what? You should be ashamed of yourself. I can't believe you just uttered those words out of your mouth. And I understand you cover the sport of boxing, and in the end, that's an individual sport because you're in that boxing ring all by yourself. I do get that point. I do get that reality. But let's also not act like you don't know. When you're talking about elite athletes, how you duck and run for cover with the team that beat you. When they were up 3-1, Kevin Durant had everything to do with them losing that 3-1 lead. It wasn't just Russell Westbrook. Even though Russell Westbrook and him combined to turn over the ball 6 of their last 8 possessions. You know why I didn't blame Russell Westbrook for that? Because the mistakes that Russell Westbrook made, he always made. It was Kevin Durant that looked a bit different. It was him going down, taking shots 1 or 2. It was him forcing the issue. It was him looking like the antithesis of what we knew Kevin Durant to be. And again, he's not wrong. I'm not trying to come across as he's wrong, nor am I trying to come across as him being somebody that should have dimed out his players or called out his teammate. What I'm saying is, Max, there does come a point in time where you can shut the hell up. You can sit up there and go like this. Well, you know what? I'm not going to dog my teammate, but what I'm not going to do is come to his defense every chance I get and dog out anybody who has something accurate to say about him when in the end, your actions are indicative of exactly what pundits were saying about him. You chose the Golden State Warriors over Oklahoma City because you chose Steph Curry over Russell Westbrook because you believe you got a better shot of winning a title with him than with your man that was by your side for the last 7 to 8 years. That's the reality.
Not just Steph.
That's the reality.
And Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and Steve Kerr and Andre Iguodala. They have a bunch of unselfish players. A lot of them can shoot the lights out, too, by the way, which is not the case in OKC. Who's going to shoot the ball in OKC from a distance at this point?
Right.
But I want to get back to what you said about how they both choked, Westbrook and Durant, down the stretch.
I don't think Russell Westbrook choked.
Well, Westbrook didn't play well down the stretch.
But he usually does it. But he usually does it at times.
Right.
Kevin Durant, my definition of choking is when
you turn into something else.
When you turn into something else when times get tight.
So why do you let Westbrook off the hook for the fact that he frequently does that
because that's always been his game, because he's aggressive and he's a rat. And that's why.
Look at Miami with LeBron and Wade. Now, it was a new team, new dynamic, etc., although there was a new coach in OKC. Look at that dynamic. Part of the problem early is they came into conflict. Whose team is it? Who's going to get the ball, etc., until Wade deferred because LeBron's superior talent just took over. Westbrook had closed the gap with Durant. It was not clear whose team it was. It was not clear who was alpha when they were on the floor. It was disrupting chemistry, and Durant tried to extricate himself from that and go to a team, by the way, which when he was on OKC, they were more talented than Golden State. I can't knock him for that.
Ahead,
no. Once you respond, I have another question on Westbrook. I want to get you guys to.
You know, Max Kellerman.
What, a less talented team?
You know, Max Kellerman, I got to confess. You're annoying me this morning already. I must confess this. I'm going to tell you why.
I'm doing something right.
I love when Stephen A starts getting annoyed.
I'm going to tell you why you annoy me. Because it's like you talk about Kevin Durant like he's Steven Adams or Victor Oladipo or somebody. He's Kevin Durant. He was up 3-1. You're one of the top 3 players in the world. No matter how great Russell Westbrook is, he ain't better than Kevin Durant. So when you talk about what Kevin Durant is joining, well, damn. I mean, you're the superstar, and you were up 3-1. You were supposed to close the door even more so than Russell Westbrook. And it's like you glossing over that and acting like it's no big deal that he jumped on a bandwagon for the team that beat him. I would not have had any problem with Kevin Durant going anywhere except to the team that knocked them off.
If that team had won a championship, I agree with you. They did not. I don't think it's a big deal that you collapsed in the Western Conference Finals and then go join that team. Had the Warriors won 73 games, defended their title, back-to-back champions, beaten Cleveland, and Durant goes there, that's weak. But just to survey the landscape and say, I think I have the best chance not only to win, but to play the kind of basketball that I believe is winning basketball, is more egoless basketball, I'm not going to fault him for that. And by the way, you and I are on the same page. Durant's better than Westbrook. However, Stephen A., let's not pretend that the world hadn't changed. When Durant got hurt and Westbrook was the sole real option on that team, he elevated his game. He became MVP caliber, and it was not clear. You and I may agree about it, but there are plenty who would disagree that Durant was clearly better than Westbrook this past season, that it was clearly still Durant's team. I think Westbrook had elevated to the point that that was a question. I think it interfered with the way they ran that offense late in that series against OKC. I mean, against Golden State.
Kevin Durant averaged 27 a game. He shot about 50% from the field. He shot nearly 40% from three-point range. He was clearly more efficient. And I don't know what you're watching.
Well, he's 6'10". He's going to be more efficient.
But let me be clear. There is no one that thought that Russell Westbrook was better than Kevin Durant. In what world are you living in? Do I need to ban you from talking about the sport of basketball? Do I need to ban Kevin Durant is not better than Russell Westbrook?
I agree with you. There are those who would argue the point, including on ESPN, including the analytics guys on ESPN.
Oh, the hell with them. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
Smart guys. You don't want to hear from the smart people?
I don't want to hear about it. Those are the same people that sit up there, and regardless of how Kobe struggled, they had him ranked 93.
And it was true.
No, it wasn't.
Hold on.
I'm gonna tell you why.
93 was generous.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because in the sport of basketball, when you're not playing with anybody and going up against pros, you're gonna look like garbage unless you're at your elite level. If you had put Kobe on a damn decent basketball team, what?
The problem with that argument is I can't disprove it. It's just assertion. What you're saying is
it's not assertion.
You're saying the numbers don't count. Well, Kobe was really inefficient, etc. Well, that doesn't count. Yeah, but the eyeball test said he wasn't good. And then you say, well, because he's not playing with good players. And then if he would have been playing with good players, you'd have another excuse.
Kobe's damn near 40 years old.
Right.
He was the #1 option. You had Roy Hibbert and Clarkson and Swaggy P.
Are you saying Kobe wasn't the 90? He was better than the 93rd player last year?
No. Yes, I am. I'm saying this to you because I'm not going by the numbers. I'm going by his situation. If you put Kobe on a decent if you put Kobe on a decent team, he would have looked better than he looked.
Okay.
Don't act like he was playing with a team.
Better he'd have to be a good player?
But what I'm asking you is this. You're trying to gloss over and ignore the fact that the brother won 5 rings and he did what he did. I mean, come on now.
Now you're switching the argument.
I'm not switching
I'm not saying Kobe's not one of the greatest players of all time. I'm saying last year he wasn't good.
Last year he was awful. But what I'm saying to you is that it had a lot to do with the scrubs you were playing with.
And a lot to do with the fact that he had catastrophic injury in the not-too-distant past, and a lot to do with the fact that he's just old.
You're getting You're getting open shots, and you don't have to work as hard as you have to work if you got teammates around you. Why did Kevin Durant leave for Golden State? It was because of the collection of talent he was joining.
But not because he was shooting 38% from the floor or whatever it was.
I agree with that.
The idea that players, when they're not good, are still good because they were once good is far-fetched.
No. That's not my argument. Don't try to flip the script. My argument is that if you're playing with subpar players, then defenses get to key on you more and make you look worse than you are because you're not what you used to be, and you can't circumvent your way around that.
I would only add one word. Make you look even worse than you are, because he played worse.
Stephen A., quick question for you here. Will Westbrook ultimately regret this extension?
I don't think so.
Think it was the right choice?
Because I think if Westbrook wants out, he's going to be able to get out, especially since they added that additional year. He gets his money, plus Sam Presti will be in a position to move him to somebody else who may be willing to take the chance on him, even if they're not sure he'll want to stay there long term. But in the end, this move, he's going to look like a hero to the folks in Oklahoma City, and he should, because he's willing to stay at least an additional year in all likelihood. And in the end, what it comes down to is that Kevin Durant, in a roundabout way, was saying, I don't believe I could win with this guy. I tried it long enough. And who's to say he's wrong? He may not be wrong. But considering how much he came to the defense of Russell Westbrook time and time again, he could have sat back and kept quiet as opposed to coming to his defense like you completely believed in him, when it is clear now that was not the case.
I think it's legitimate for media members to say, time out, Durant. You've been taking this position for so long, aggressively going at us when we ask you questions, and then when it came time to examine your behavior said the exact opposite of what you've been saying.
That's the bottom line.
I think that's a legitimate point of view.
That's the bottom line.
You guys came out of the gates firing. This crowd all fired up here. We are just getting started. Right from Richmond, Virginia here. First take, day 3 of our training camp tour. This next conversation is going to be very interesting and very fitting for where we are. There you can see in the merchandise store, Redskins camp. A subject of controversy has been the name Redskins. You don't want to miss Max's take when we come back. Stay here.
All right, let's see. Oh, how about this one?